Welcome, everyone, to this very special edition of Coast to Coast. I am the West Coast Professor Jeff Meacham, coming to you from sunny, hot, as you know what, Southern California. I'm being joined live via satellite, if you will, in Oil City, Pennsylvania, by the one, the only, the Pennsylvania sensation, Greg Cherry.
And that's correct. Over here in sunny and hot as you know what, Pennsylvania. That's the deal with summer months. All the freaking humidity.
You know what? Humidity is bad no matter where you go. But when you get humidity in the East Coast, I've noticed, because we went to Florida for a Disney World vacation one December, and it rained every day, and it was humid every single day. There was no cold whatsoever. It was ridiculous.
Oh, no. When my family went to November, we went to November. We went to Florida in November. It was pretty hot there, too. It was about 80-some degrees and stifling hot. It's like, well, I mean, I guess it's better than almost snowing, but still.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to address something because we're actually starting this recording a little late. We know that with Google Hangouts, there's lag time. So I tried to find something to counteract that. However, we don't make money off these. At least I don't. I'm broke, so if you want to send me money so I can get a program to avoid the lag, please send all your money to. Hit me up on Twitter, and then you can send me money.
Yeah. Send your money to me, Al Franken.
Yeah. But we tried to find something in Google Hangouts is just the way it was going to work if we were going to get this done tonight. So there's that out of the way.
The boss man is watching right now, so we have to make sure we get this stuff done and in before like Friday. So we got to make sure we get it recorded tonight.
Yeah. So that being said, Jeff, you can take the lead.
I will, because as promised last week or whatever it was, Greg and I are going to do a draft show, and then literally Monday night, Aaron do a draft show. I'm like, I got one set up, but sure. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read off the main draft picks from both shows and let Greg just go to town and give his analyses, if you will, on what he thinks about the draft picks. It started out, no surprise, with Raw's number one pick from Stephanie and Mick Foley was the man, Seth Rollins. Then Dean Ambrose for SmackDown Live as the WWE champion, who ended up retaining the championship both nights of this week's television. Then a surprise to some, not to me, Charlotte being the first women pick, number 3 overall for Monday Night Raw, AJ Styles for SmackDown Live, and to round out the first round pick, the demon himself, Finn Balor.
I expected Seth Rollins to go first. I mean, I heard Raw was getting the first pick. I was like, okay, they're going to want to start strong. Stephanie's history and Seth's history with the Authority, they're going to go with Seth Rollins. And it's a good pick. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's not like, oh, that's a terrible pick. It's like it should be an obvious pick for them. Picking Dean Ambrose second, obviously that means the members of the Shield will not be on the same show, which I think is fine because Ambrose is going to need a feud post Battleground, so that's good. Charlotte being picked third, that one surprised me. I'm not dissing the pick. I'm just surprised it happened that early. But it's probably fourth was AJ Styles. I expected AJ to go SmackDown, so I was very happy with that pick. Hopefully AJ will be featured in many big feuds on the Blue brand. And Finn Balor going to Raw. That one did surprise me a little bit. I also thought he'd be going to SmackDown. But finally, after months of waiting, we finally have Finn Balor on the main roster.
Very excited to see Finn Balor come to mainstream TV.
You're gonna have to re-record that. I'm gonna have to edit point because you cut
That's
off.
Fine.
Completely.
I did. That's okay. I know you guys in the Cherry House are very excited to see Finn Balor on mainstream WWE TV. No question about that.
Yeah, actually, Jen was upset when he went to Raw because she wanted him on SmackDown as well. And then she quickly asked if there was going to be subsequent drafts like they've done in the past. And I kind of hope there are. I kind of hope they make that an annual thing because those were some of the most fun Raw shows of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, the draft always seems to reinvigorate the roster, reinvigorate the TV, and really boost ratings for the few weeks that they're being built up to the actual show and then the fallout. So hopefully they'll do it more often. Round 2, we had Roman Reigns for Raw, which was a surprise to many people because Stephanie is in charge of Raw, and we all know her dislike of Roman Reigns, but I guess Mick Foley talked her into it. Then John Cena went back home to SmackDown Live. Went to Raw. His opponent for SummerSlam, Randy Orton, went to SmackDown Live. And the New Day as a unit were drafted. I know you're happy about this, to Monday Night Raw. They are staying together.
All right. Reigns going to Raw. That probably means they're going to continue the Reigns-Rollins feud post-Battleground. Who's next to SmackDown? I just forgot.
Cena, no worries.
Cena. How could I forget the Doctor of Thugonomics? Cena going to SmackDown to continue his feud with AJ Styles. That'll be good. It's nice to see him back on SmackDown and not just there for 2 hours before he gets redrafted to Raw. Lesnar getting drafted to Raw, that one makes sense. I figured they'd have him. I know SmackDown's a live show too, but they probably want him on the main brand despite his issues, which we'll get to a little later. Number 9. Excuse me, I'm looking on my words here. Man, I am not paying attention, Jeff. I'm out of it.
Orton was next in the New Day. For Randy Orton for SmackDown, New Day for Raw.
Jeez, I forget Cena and Orton. What kind of wrestling fan am I?
You're fired, Greg. That's it.
I've seen them fight for the world title twice in Pittsburgh. All right. Orton getting drafted to SmackDown. It's nice to see him back. It'll be nice to see him back at Battleground in the segment with Jericho. And it'll be nice to see him back in the ring with Lesnar, who those two haven't faced off since Orton was a rookie on SmackDown back in 2002. So this one truly is 14 years in the making. And then the New Day being on Raw, there was no way in hell that they were going to split up the tag, or the WWE World Tag Team Champions. They weren't going to split them up.
That's right. And for those of you who didn't see me on the screen as Greg was doing the WWE, I was doing it too, so no worries. It's infectious. It's a disease.
It is.
It is. All right. Round 3, we started off with
YouTube channel, Up, Down, Down, which is also fantastic.
Is getting a lot of hits on YouTube and a lot of publicity. And I, for one, am not a gamer, but that show is funny to watch.
Oh yeah, there's tons of great stuff with him and all the guys on the back, and like some of the people that work with him that aren't wrestlers. It's just great. You have to check it out.
Most definitely. Round 3 again saw some surprises, some not surprises. Sami Zayn went to Monday Night Raw. Bray Wyatt by himself went to SmackDown Live. The second women's pick, Sasha Banks, your girl, went to Monday Night Raw. Main counterparts in the Women's Revolution went to SmackDown Live. And the gift of Jericho will be drunken, man, on Monday Night Raw.
Sami Zayn going to Raw. That's a good pick. People were talking about him being in the Cruiserweight division. I think that kind of limits him, despite the fact that he fits that bill. But Sami Zayn being on Raw, that'll be a nice addition. Going over to SmackDown. Crying out loud. I need to start writing these down, Jeff. I don't know if it's because I'm tired or I haven't slept. It's terrible. This episode.
It's been a very long hour of trying to get this organized and trying to get this done for you guys. And I know that the boss man is going to be going, oh my God, what are they doing? Bray Wyatt went to SmackDown was the next pick.
Bray Wyatt. Okay, Bray Wyatt. Well, that should ease the tensions of Xavier Woods over on Raw. So that will be nice for him, and hopefully the New Day can continue as they have been as the tag team champions. Back over on Raw, I'm not going to forget about this one, Sasha Banks. I actually expected Sasha to go to SmackDown, so seeing her on Raw, I understand she has the program with Charlotte. I'm hoping that they only keep the one women's championship because for crying out loud, if they bring back the butterfly belt after all that, I'm going to be pissed. Back over to SmackDown, Becky Lynch. It's nice to see that they are splitting up. They have a lot of great talent. It's nice to see that Becky Lynch is going to be over on SmackDown. And then the gifts of Jericho, drink it in, man, is going to Monday Night Raw. And I don't know how long he'll be around, but, Jericho's been awesome as he always has been. So a great pickup there for a while.
Your Jericho today. I just got to say that. Anyway, round 4, picks 16 through 20, still on SmackDown Live. We're making these picks. Rusev and Lana to Raw, which means they get the U.S. Championship, while SmackDown Live gets the Intercontinental Championship, Miz and Maurice.
Yeah, we might as well just go 2 picks at a time so my brain doesn't completely fall out of my head. Rusev and Lana to Raw, and Miz and Maurice to SmackDown. It was obvious that they had to split up the titles, and it'll be nice seeing the Intercontinental Championship back on SmackDown and the U.S. title on Raw. I think that'll work out great.
Absolutely. And then followed by that, we had finally a guy that I think should have gone a lot earlier, but he didn't. But maybe they're doing this to give him a program to be a continued whiny little puss, is Kevin Owens on Raw. And Baron Corbin to SmackDown Live, and then our boys Enzo and Cass to Monday Night Raw.
See, Kevin Owens to Raw surprised me because the way they were teasing the Battleground match, I figured Owens and Zayn would end up on separate shows, but they're not. Not that I'm complaining, because it means they'll probably fight more, but Owens on Raw will continue to be entertaining as he always has been. Baron Corbin to SmackDown, I really like this pick, because I actually really enjoy Baron Corbin because I still think he has the best finisher in the business right now, which I know is not like all that flashy, but it still looks effective, and I just love the end of days. So Baron Corbin to SmackDown is a great pick. And then how you doing over on Raw with Enzo Amore and Big Cass? If you don't love those two, there's something wrong with you. Because Enzo and Cass are highly entertaining. Even though half the time you wonder what the hell Enzo Amore is talking about, it's still great to watch.
Absolutely. Round 5 continued with tag team picks. For Raw, we went Gallows and Anderson. And for SmackDown Live, the first NXT tag team pick, my favorite team in WWE right now, period, besides the Revival, of course, American Alpha.
Well, Gallows and Anderson to Raw, I was surprised that they split up those two and AJ so quickly. I expected them to go over to SmackDown. But then again, earlier in the draft, Finn Balor's on Raw. So perhaps there's going to be a club reunion over there. We don't know. Seeing American Alpha drafted to SmackDown was an awesome moment because I know SmackDown's going to be ready, willing, and able to see them on the Tuesday night show. And it'll just be awesome to see because there's a lot of comparisons between them and the world's greatest tag team, which is very understandable. But I actually think, as much as I love Shelton Benjamin, I and Jordan have more of a connection with the crowd.
Shelton Benjamin was and still is a very special talent overall. But Jordan and Gable just have captured the imagination of the NXT audience, and I really think they're going to capture the attention of the SmackDown Live audience as well. They're going to be something really special, and I hope that if they keep the tag team championship being one championship and they have the New Day bouncing back and forth between brands to defend the championships, that we get an American Alpha New Day match sooner rather than later.
That would be fantastic. That would be it'd be 2 babyface tag teams, but it would be 2 very athletic babyface tag teams going at it. I think they could put on an incredible clinic, regardless of which 2 members of the new.
Yeah, and two very different gimmicks as well going up against each other.
Yeah, definitely, because you have the serious, like, the amateur wrestler gimmick of Gable and Jordan, who can also be comedic in their own right, versus the highly comedic New Day, who can also be athletic. So, I mean, it would just be an incredible contest between the two.
A pick that surprised me around 5, number 23 for Raw overall was Big Show, and then Dolph Ziggler again, a great hand, if you will. And then another big surprise, NXT female wrestler Nia Jax called up to Monday Night Raw.
Big Show to Raw. I mean, it is what it is. Big Show hasn't been on TV much at all lately, so I kind of forgot he was there, as terrible as that sounds. I want to skip over Ziggler real quick. Now, I'll go to Ziggler next. Ziggler is somebody who needs that fresh start because he has been – I know he's been engulfed in that feud with Corbin, who's also on SmackDown. But he really needs a fresh start and a new set of opponents to hopefully get some sort of momentum behind him and put on the great matches that we're used to from him. Seeing Nia Jax come to Raw should make the women's division a little more interesting because Nia Jax is, I don't want to say she's not highly athletic, but she brings a whole new dynamic to the women's division that, quite frankly, Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch don't have that giant power game. That's what we're going to see from Nia Jax.
Absolutely. And what surprised me continually until I really thought about it was as we rounded out the last 5 picks on SmackDown Live, the televised picks, none of them was Bayley from NXT. We had Neville from Raw. We had Natalya from SmackDown for Raw, for SmackDown, and rounding out the picks on TV was Sheamus on Raw. So what do you think about the televised picks rounding out with no Bayley? And what do you think about Neville, Natty, Cesaro, Alberto, and Sheamus?
It'll be nice to see Neville back. There were reports that Neville and Jericho were going to feud, probably over the fact that Neville injured himself in a match with Chris Jericho. Famously, went to an argument between Jericho and Charles Robinson. So I'll be glad to see Neville back. I mean, it's a shame he missed WrestleMania because of that, but he'll be back, and it'll be good to see him again. Excuse me. Natalya over on SmackDown, and obviously has to continue her feud with Becky. Perfectly fine. I'd love to see that.
Like you just came home and should film the stuff.
Cesaro.
Okay, well, you can watch it while I change clothes now.
By the time you close, he'll be in the ring because he takes that long to take a ring.
It's lagging really bad today. Wow, this day is just not going well for us with this taping, people. I apologize for
No,
this.
I'm just being silent. Okay. Cesaro over on Raw. If you saw his interview on the network, he was not very happy about it. He wanted to be on SmackDown. Quite frankly, I don't think any of the talent, especially if you watched the YouTube videos of the NXT superstars being drafted, I don't think any of them knew where they were going. At least, maybe other than a couple of the main event guys, but I don't think the rest of them knew where they were going. So Cesaro being on Raw, I mean, he's going to flourish, I think, wherever he goes. Hopefully he'll flourish on Raw, and I actually picked Cesaro on one of our episodes of Coast to Coast to win the Rumble, so I hope that holds true. But we'll see how he does. Yeah. Back over on SmackDown, Alberto Del Rio.
Sheamus.
Yeah, Alberto went to SmackDown. Sheamus went to Raw. We can all try to forget about the League of Nations existing, hopefully. I'm not sure how to feel about Del Rio because when he walked out on Sheamus, there was we were wondering if there was going to be a face turn, and there hasn't really been any progression. So I don't know what's going to happen with Del Rio, whether he's going to be a face or a heel, or really anybody. I mean, I guess anybody could turn as soon as the show starts. But Del Rio's an interesting choice. It'll be nice to see him on SmackDown. And Sheamus being on Raw, I'm not really surprised. So I don't have much to say about Sheamus. But the last year, Sheamus has not been worth the right moment.
Right, exactly. All right, from there we went to WWE Draft Center Live, exclusive to WWE Network, and they announced 5 picks. Again, 3 for Raw, 2 for SmackDown. The Golden Truth went to Monday Night Raw, while the Usos went to SmackDown.
I don't really have much to say about those two. I mean, quite frankly, there weren't very many of the picks on the network that really struck me as interesting, other than 2 or 3. If that makes sense.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and tell me what you thought about the picks overall on the network and what really struck your mind.
Well, one of the picks I'm very happy happened, and it's not somebody that I expected to be called up at all, but I am very happy to see Alexa Bliss on the main roster. I think she is very underrated, and she's got a great character, a great mean streak. I am a big fan of Alexa Bliss. She is actually probably, as far as the women's wrestlers go, as far as characters, I love me some Bayley, but it would probably be Sasha Banks, then Alexa, then Bayley. And then Becky Lynch.
People have not given Bliss near enough credit. Alexa has evolved from that little sparkle prince that she was early on NXT to this really deep, evolved character that is just a little spitfire and will just literally take your head off one moment and smile pretty the next. She's great. And I think that her getting picked from NXT period is awesome for her.
Yeah, I agree. And she also has a sweet finisher, so that helps.
Yes. Yeah.
I was going to call it the Sparkle Splash, but I think she changed it.
No, it's called it's called Twisted Bliss now.
Twisted Bliss, that's right. But yeah, I like her finisher. I like her gimmick. And she's athletic too, so that helps. Glad to see her on the main roster. Hopefully she has a chance in the future to compete. Other picks that interested me. I was interested to also see Carmella be. Unfortunately, it wasn't the Raw, so she, Cass, and Enzo won't be a unit. But potentially in the future, they'll be on the same show. It'll be nice to see Carmella because she's in the ring as well, and she's got a good character.
Yeah. Carmella being picked, I think, is so great for her. I think Carmella is vastly underrated. She's improved leaps and bounds since she actually became an actual in-ring competitor in the ring. I think it'd be awesome.
Also of note, and I'm not sure, they're probably going to turn this into a storyline, but Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel both got drafted to Raw, but they were drafted separately, which probably means that they're going to be, I guess, would be at least singles athletes. But they won't be a tag team of the Social Outcasts. And Heath Slater did not get drafted at all.
Yeah. Poor Heath Slater, man. He gets his eye busted open over the weekend, and then he's not even drafted at all.
Poor Heath.
Brutal.
Also, there was one pick for each show on the network that I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
Okay.
And Eva Marie, surprisingly, was not one of them. The Shining Stars to Raw. Who cares? Right. I mean, we saw their debut match, if you can call it that, on Monday Night Raw, and nobody gave a crap.
Nope. Not one.
The sad thing is,
the whole thing.
They were no. The sad thing is, they were over as Primo and Epico when they were just Primo and Epico, probably because of Rosa Mendez, who is, if Rosa Mendez is the most over member of your team, you have a problem.
Yes.
As Los Matadores, the most over member was the freaking Bull. So it's like, okay, now you don't have either one of them, so nobody gives a crap. If they brought in Carlito would be the most over. It's like Primo and Epico cannot get over.
No, they
Nobody
can't. They're
cares.
awful.
Doesn't matter
Awful.
how many times you read it, they can't get over. Ugh, it's terrible. And also for SmackDown, Mojo Rawley. I hope that doesn't mean they'll reunite the Hype Bros, because that means Ryder's going to lose on Sunday. And I don't know. I think Zack Ryder can do better on his own than he can with the tag team. That's my opinion.
See, I like the Hype Bros, but I think Zack can do much better by himself. I agree with you there.
All right, that's my overall opinion on the draft.
All right. There's a question from Cameron Hutton at @fat_Pirlo on Twitter. How would you feel, Greg, if both mid-card titles were on SmackDown and they were merged into one title?
I would be okay with it, but there's a contingency. If they're going to unite the Intercontinental and the United States Championship, probably to make it the Intercontinental Championship overall, like they did after the Alliance storyline ended, I would want them to bring back a championship, and this is my personal preference. I know it's the PG era, but I would love for them to bring back the Hardcore Championship.
For Raw.
Just for the 24/7. It doesn't even have to be like hardcore weaponry and blood or anything. The 24/7 rule is what made it fun. Like, they can just be like a Defend Anywhere Championship. Sure, they come up with a better name, but it would essentially be the Hardcore Championship.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, Greg. I was going to bring this up with you at some point during Coast to Coast history, but since you brought it up, I'll do it now. There's a title right now that started in Japan called the DDT Pro Ironman Championship, and it's been defended literally all over this country by Joey Ryan and many others. It's literally a 24/7 championship. It's anywhere, anytime. It changes hands in the stalls, changes hands in a massage table. It changes hands anywhere in the country at any time. Kendrick's had it. Robbie E's had it. Brian Cage has had it. Joey's had it a few times now. It's entertaining to watch it unfold on social media, Twitter and Instagram. You're seeing the title changes. That'd be so good for WWE if they had like a social media 24/7 title.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be great. I mean, for crying out loud, Scott Hall was champion.
Yeah,
Scott Hall, like current Scott Hall, not like Razor Ramon era Scott Hall, but like now Scott Hall, like 2016 Scott Hall, who's still in better shape than he was 5 years ago. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Still, the fact that Scott Hall in 2016 held a professional wrestling championship, it just shows you that anything can happen.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great gimmick for WWE to do if they were to do it. Now, with the draft,
yeah, I don't know why with all
teams
this.
announced.
Yeah. Yes.
Say it again, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Draft the new announced teams were announced later into Tuesday, going into Wednesday. For Raw, we're going to have Michael Cole, the voice of WWE, remaining on Raw, along with Byron Saxton. But joining them is the savior of misbehavior himself from NXT, Corey Graves. And on SmackDown, we're going to get Mauro Ranallo, JBL, and permanently on the team now, David Otunga. Now, Tom Phillips will be hosting Superstars and Main Event, with Corey Graves on Superstars and Otunga on Main Event. However, no Jerry Lawler on any announced team.
Yeah, it was actually announced that Lawler and Booker T are going to be doing the pre-shows and the kickoff shows exclusively. So that's probably to make Lawler's life easier, so he doesn't have to call the action as much and probably doesn't have to travel as much.
Makes sense.
But I think that's great. Raw Michael Cole and Byron Saxton staying on. That's fine. The addition of Corey Graves, my fellow Pittsburgher. I'm just gonna enjoy that. Listening to Corey Graves, but I really think that JBL and Cole were great together when they were on SmackDown originally. I really think Corey Graves is going to bring a whole new level of making fun of Michael Cole to Monday Night Raw, and probably Byron Saxton too, because Saxton NXT. SmackDown, Mauro Ranallo, JBL, and David Otunga. I have a feeling like Otunga is going to be in the Byron Saxton role, just kind of adding a little bit here and there. JBL is going to try and rip on Mauro Ranallo, but at least Mauro Ranallo has a little more of that like wrestling knowledge. He's kind of like, I don't want to say he's like Gorilla Monsoon, but I did compare a possible Ranallo and Graves commentary team as the modern day Monsoon and Heenan. So there's part of me that wanted Graves to be on SmackDown just so he could call matches with Ranallo and the two of them could have their back and forth. But think about it. Corey Graves' first day as a Monday Night Raw announcer is going to be in his backyard of Pittsburgh, so that's pretty sweet.
I think that's fantastic. Good for him. I've liked Corey Graves from Jump Street. He's awesome.
Yeah, Corey Graves is a good dude.
Yeah, and, he seems like a genuinely nice dude to begin with. So that's always good too.
He is, unless you piss him off.
Well, as it should be.
I have a story. Yeah, I have him getting pissed off. I'll tell you off the air.
That's fine.
It wasn't me, but
well, that's good. Quick question for Battleground from the fans on Twitter, because we were going to cover Battleground to a certain extent, but I don't want to take too much time out of the day. Basically, there's a question from Darren Holding at Daza. Daza 230-81990. That's a ridiculous Twitter name. What do you think of AJ Lee or Brie Bella being Sasha's partner this Sunday?
AJ Lee probably will not happen simply because of being with CM Punk. Brie Bella's retired, and who knows if she's pregnant or not, which is probably why she retired, so she can go on babies. I don't see either AJ Lee or Brie Bella. Quite frankly, I don't even know if I expect Bayley to be the mystery tag team partner. I am thinking that the returning Naomi for 2/3 of Team Bad could possibly be her partner for the tag team match.
Nobody's really mentioned Naomi as far as being Sasha's partner. People's talking about Bayley or talking about Nikki Bella, but Naomi is a very interesting dark horse pick. Well done, sir.
Thank you. I mean, Naomi is another one of those that she's very athletic. She can add a lot to the women's division. I think giving her fair shot over on SmackDown, which is where she got drafted, is going to add a lot to the division as a whole.
Yeah. Do you foresee coming out of Sunday's pay-per-view?
I'm sorry, you cut out. What?
I said, do you foresee any major surprises coming out of Sunday's pay-per-view?
I have a feeling like there will be a surprise of some kind. What that is, clearly I don't know because I don't work for them. But they're going to want to start the brand split off with something major is going to happen. Tune into Monday Night Raw or Tuesday Night SmackDown to see what's going to happen next with these guys. I mean, that's what they have to do. You have to want to see, oh my goodness, what an event Battleground was. What's going to happen tomorrow night on Raw? What's going to happen on SmackDown? I mean, you have to build up something to continue the anticipation. I have a feeling like one of the new draftees from NXT is going to have an impact. Probably Balor.
Wouldn't surprise me if Balor was involved in the club match, six-man tag team match, like we talked about with Aaron earlier.
Yeah, as far as I think Balor's going to have an impact. I don't think that you'll see Bayley probably until after NXT Brooklyn, honestly. But
okay.
Because she's got her. I don't know if this is spoilers, but no, never mind.
That's okay. We spoil on this show. Who cares?
Oh, you spoiled on the show? Okay, fine. Asuka and Bayley are facing each other for the NXT Women's Championship back to Brooklyn. So I understand Sasha Banks was champion.
She won it back.
Yeah. Sasha Banks was champion going into SummerSlam. Or leading up to SummerSlam before NXT Brooklyn. I think this is a completely different scenario. So.
Yeah. One topic I brought up with Aaron earlier this morning when I talked about Battleground was Jericho hosting Orton on the highlight reel and the possibility of Paul Heyman coming in and appearing as a surprise during the highlight reel and Orton giving Heyman the arc. I think that would do to make an immediate jump point for this feud with Brock Lesnar.
I could see that happening. I mean, with them drafting Lesnar and talking about the match at SummerSlam still happening, despite what's happened to Lesnar in the last week, they clearly don't have a problem with continuing to advertise for the match. And I mean, I'm not sure how well the USADA and the WWE wellness policy overlap. Maybe that's not my business. I don't know. But it looks like they're still plugging away towards that match at SummerSlam. And I mean, it'll be a good match if it happens, but I don't know. That one's still kind of up in the air, and hopefully they don't decide to be like, oh, we're advertising this match 6 weeks ahead of time. Lesnar got caught doing something. Orton versus Heath Slater at SummerSlam. Yeah, I have no idea what they're going to do.
Did what happened to Brock surprise you like it surprised me? Because all we heard about from Mark Hunt for weeks was, well, Lesnar's not getting tested, this and this isn't happening. And all of a sudden, Lesnar comes in and just destroys Mark Hunt in 3 rounds, whatever it was. And then he gets popped twice for the same thing that John Jones got popped for.
Here's the thing, though. I don't understand why it took them so long to note that he had failed the drug test, because what's today, the 20th?
Yes, sir.
They popped him for a drug test that he took on the 9th. And that was what, yesterday or the day before that they did that?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if he took a test on the 9th, that'd be the day of the fight.
Yeah. But they said they took a fight day sample from him for the second one, and he failed that one too. And that was 10 days after the fact. June 28th, the sample that they're talking about, was more than 10 days before they got the result of this one. So I don't know why it took them so long. If he would have had that in his system before the fight, they should have caught it. And it's really, I don't know if it's on the USADA or if it's on UFC, that they didn't catch that ahead of time. It's like, if you're going to sample him for drugs 2 weeks before the fight and you don't have the results yet, that's really on you for not catching that and pulling him from the fight. Yes, it's a lot of advertising revenue, but that's what you signed up for doing this thing with the USADA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just not being.
I'm not.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I want to say that I'm not condoning what Lesnar did, like being that I was caught through the anti-estrogen thing or whatever. But, I mean, there has to be some sort of continuity with who you're testing. It's like, you think that John Jones isn't going to sell more than Lesnar? Well, you might be right. But besides that, I mean, you have to have consistency in how you report stuff and how you do the testing. Maybe that's completely out of my realm of understanding, but
Where did Dylan go, babe?
why did it take them so long?
Oh, is he eating already?
I don't know.
Okay.
Right. For me, we all know I'm not a huge UFC follower. I've been following mainly the last couple of years since Brock got his first big run in UFC, and then with the rise of Ronda Rousey. But for me, we did a huge post-fight thing with myself and Aaron and Mike right after the fights were over that night on the 9th. And it was just he was the talk of the world that Lesnar had just so completely obliterated Amir Khan, and then he immediately didn't even blink and just shifted right to Randy Orton. Didn't talk about UFC, didn't talk about anything else. He said, did what I did, now I'm going to SummerSlam. Do you think that the casual WWE fan who maybe watches both is going to go, he's a cheater, I don't care about this match now?
I honestly don't think so. With UFC, obviously, they take it a little more seriously. WWE, while athletic, is still an entertainment product. So we're not going to be focusing, oh, he's cheating. It's like, well, it's predetermined. So, it doesn't really matter like what he's using. If they suspend him for the wellness policy, then that's one thing. But if they don't do anything about it and they still have a great match, then I don't want to say who cares, but I mean, what are you going to do about it?
Right, exactly. All right, well, we appreciate everybody sticking with us here throughout this show taped and through different means and different channels and whatnot. Thank you all so much for watching Coast to Coast. I am the West Coast Professor Jeff Meacham.
And I am the Pennsylvania sensation, Greg Cherry. Hopefully we'll figure out something next time where it won't lag as much, but we don't get paid to do this, so send in money.
That's right. That's right. Send
kidding,
me money. Send your money to me, Al Franken.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next time here on Coast to Coast Wrestling.
Good night, everybody. Good Lord.